My dad hit me with something last weekend that's been on my mind nonstop. He was reminiscing about buying their first house back in the day.
Yeah? What'd he say?
He goes, "We had less stuff than you guys, but somehow we felt richer." It kind of stung, you know?
Damn, that's a gut punch to start the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to Conversation Point. I'm Zach.
And I'm Maya. Today we're tackling a big one. Is the American dream dead? Why does it feel like we're working way harder than our parents, but still falling behind?
Man, it really does feel that way sometimes. You're busting your ass, putting in the hours, and it just doesn't land the same.
The American dream was always that promise that if you worked hard, you'd build a better life, own a home, raise a family, have some breathing room.
My parents pulled it off on basically one solid paycheck in the 90s. Bought a house, had the backyard, the whole thing. Now it feels like a totally different game.
A lot of us in our 20s and 30s are looking around going, what happened? We're more educated, working longer, picking up extra gigs, but still stressed about making ends meet.
Look, this isn't us complaining or blaming our folks. They had their own battles. The economy and life just shifted big time over the years.
Back then, one steady job could get you a house and stability without both parents killing themselves with overtime. The dream felt real and reachable for regular people.
Now, side hustles are basically required. My buddy in Chicago's got a decent job, but rent and everything else is eating him alive.
Tell me about it. Expectations were sold to us like go to college, get the degree, you're set. Reality check hit hard for a lot of us.
Wages haven't kept pace with how expensive everything got. Housing, groceries, cars, it all adds up different now.
Forget those dumb avocado toast memes. A starter home in most decent areas costs way more compared to what our parents paid relative to their paychecks.
For real, the rules of the game changed. Globalization, tech, costs rising faster than pay in a lot of places.
So many people across the country are feeling the squeeze, from Austin to Nashville to Denver suburbs. You're not crazy if you're wondering what's up.
Yeah, and we're going to talk through it honestly. The feeling of falling behind is super common right now.
Did the American dream break, or did the path to it just get a lot steeper? That's what we're digging into.
Stick with us. This one's going to be real. So yeah, that feeling of falling behind is hitting a lot of us hard these days.
Totally. You see friends grinding through the week, maybe pulling a weekend gig, and still wondering if they'll ever get ahead like their parents did. It's frustrating.
My cousin out in Austin was telling me the other day how his folks bought their place back when a teacher's salary could swing a mortgage. Now he's got a better job on paper, but feels stuck renting forever.
It's crazy how the math doesn't add up anymore. And it's not like we're all out here buying fancy cars or eating out every night. Most people are just trying to cover the basics.
Exactly. The American dream used to include that sense of security. You work, you save, you move forward. Now it feels like the finish line keeps moving.
I think part of it is how much the cost of living has outpaced what we're bringing home. Inflation hits different when your paycheck doesn't stretch the same way.
And we're not talking about luxury stuff. Groceries, utilities, gas for the commute, all of it adds up quick in 2026.
A lot of younger folks grew up hearing stories about how their parents bought homes young and built equity. That path feels closed off for so many now.
My dad loves reminding me he was 26 with a house and a kid on the way. I'm over here at 31, still figuring out if I can afford a one-bedroom without roommates.
Hey, at least you have good credit, right? That's something. But seriously, the pressure is real. People are delaying marriage, kids, everything, because the numbers don't work.
And it's not laziness, more like the system changed and the old playbook stopped working as well.
So many Americans feel like they're doing everything right, but still falling short of that dream their parents lived. It's that quiet disappointment a lot of us carry.
Yeah, and it's okay to talk about it. This conversation isn't about giving up. It's about understanding why it feels harder.
Curious, what do you think shifted the most? For me, it's seeing how one income used to be enough for a whole family.
Same. Dual incomes are basically the minimum now just to stay afloat in a lot of cities. The single income household pretty much disappeared for the middle class.
It makes you wonder if the dream is still alive or if we need a new version of it.
We'll get there, but first, let's keep unpacking this feeling.
You know what gets me? My parents talk about vacations and family time without stressing every dollar. Now it feels like every choice has a cost.
Tell me about it. I tried explaining to my uncle how rent in Denver has doubled in some areas while wages grew way slower. He just shook his head.
It's that gap between what we were told growing up and what we're experiencing. The American dream sold us on hard work leading to stability.
And for a lot of people, the hard work is there, but the stability part is missing.
But hey, talking about it is the first step. A lot of listeners are in the same boat.
For sure. The rules changed, but we're figuring out how to play the new game. Yeah, that gap between what we expected and what's actually happening is tough to swallow sometimes.
For real, you grow up thinking if you check all the boxes, school, job, trying to save, you'll be okay like your folks were. Then reality hits and it's like, wait a minute.
My sister in Nashville said the same thing. She's got a good government job, but still can't see buying a house anytime soon. Her parents had theirs paid off by her age.
It's wild, and it's not just big cities. Even in mid-sized places, the numbers feel off. The American dream used to be pretty straightforward for regular working people.
Now it feels like you need perfect timing, luck, or family help just to hit the basics. A lot of us are asking if the old version is still possible.
Or if we're all just bad with money, like the internet loves to say. But come on, when rent takes half your paycheck, saving for a down payment is no joke.
Exactly. And our parents didn't have social media showing everyone's highlight reel, making it feel even worse.
Serious, but the data backs it up too. Real wages for a lot of middle-class jobs haven't grown like living costs have. It leaves people feeling stuck, no matter how hard they push.
Yeah, you put in the overtime, skip the vacations, and still feel like you're treading water. That's the part that messes with your head.
So many Americans are carrying that quiet stress, from teachers in Chicago suburbs to tech workers in Austin. It's everywhere.
And it's okay to admit it sucks sometimes. Doesn't mean we're giving up, just being real about the situation.
The dream was always about opportunity and building something better. Right now, a lot of us feel like that opportunity is harder to grab.
But talking about it helps. We're not the only ones feeling this way in 2026.
True. And we're going to keep going through what actually changed in the next part.
Stick around, y'all. This conversation is just getting started.
All right, so we've talked about that feeling a lot of us have. Now let's get into what actually changed over the years.
Yeah, because it's not just in our heads. A bunch of real things shifted that made the American dream way harder to reach.
First big one is housing. Back in our parents' time, buying a home was tough, but doable. Now, it's straight up out of reach for tons of people.
My parents bought their house for what feels like pocket change compared to today. In a lot of cities, median home prices have skyrocketed while incomes grew way slower.
In places like Austin or Denver, you're looking at homes that cost 5 or 6 times what a normal salary can comfortably support. Rent isn't much better. It eats up so much of the paycheck.
Exactly. A lot of young families are stuck renting longer, delaying kids, or moving farther out where the commute sucks. The whole home ownership part of the dream took a hit.
And don't get me started on interest rates and how they fluctuate. One bad year and suddenly your dream house is even farther away.
Yeah, it's brutal. My buddy closed on a place last year, and he's still stressing about the monthly payment eating into everything else.
Serious. Next up, wages versus inflation. This one's sneaky because prices go up faster than paychecks in a lot of areas. Groceries, gas, insurance, it all adds up.
You feel it at the store every week. What used to be a normal grocery run now costs noticeably more. And wages? They've been pretty flat for a lot of regular jobs when you adjust for real costs.
Even with raises, it doesn't feel like progress. You're making more on paper, but buying less. That's the trap a lot of us are in.
And it makes you question the whole hustle. Why work extra hours if the extra money disappears on basics anyway?
Student loans are another huge one. College used to be more affordable. Now people graduate with massive debt before they even start their careers.
Yeah, I know so many people paying hundreds every month on loans while trying to save for a house or start a family. It delays everything.
Meanwhile, our parents talk about paying for school with summer jobs. Different world.
For real. Education was supposed to be the ticket to the dream, but for a lot of folks, it came with a heavy price tag.
Continuing, healthcare costs are crazy too. Even with insurance, deductibles and surprise bills can wipe out savings quick.
Seriously. One medical issue, and suddenly you're choosing between paying bills or building that emergency fund. It's stressful as hell.
Childcare is the same story. For families with kids, it's often one of the biggest expenses, sometimes more than rent.
Makes it hard for both parents to work without feeling like the money is just cycling right back out.
Even making $100K in a lot of cities doesn't feel rich anymore. After taxes, housing, and everything else, you're living comfortably, but not ahead.
Lifestyle creep plays a role too, but a lot of it is just actual inflation making life more expensive.
And the single-income household? Pretty much gone for most middle-class families. Both partners working is the new normal just to keep up.
Agreeing. It all piles on. The American dream didn't disappear overnight, but these changes made it feel a lot farther away.
Closing section. We'll keep breaking it down. What do you think is hitting people the hardest right now?
Housing, for sure. Let's dive deeper in the next part. Housing is definitely one of the biggest hits to the dream right now.
For sure. It used to be the cornerstone. Buy a house, build equity, pass it on. Now it's like winning the lottery in a lot of markets.
Even in places that aren't crazy expensive, like some California spots, prices have climbed so much that saving for a down payment takes forever.
And with mortgage rates bouncing around, a lot of people are priced out or stuck paying rent that could have gone toward owning. It changes everything.
My friend in Chicago was saying how his parents' generation could afford a decent family home on a factory or office salary. Now you need two solid incomes just to think about it.
Yeah, and then property taxes and maintenance on top of that. It's not the simple path it used to be.
Wages versus inflation is another quiet killer. You get a raise, but it feels like you're running in place because everything costs more.
Groceries, utilities, car insurance, all of it. In 2026, it adds up faster than most paychecks can handle.
I saw my grocery bill the other day and thought, when did milk get this expensive? It's the little things that wear you down.
Serious. Student loans make it worse. A lot of us started adult life already in the hole. That debt follows you for years.
Agreeing. Delays buying homes, starting families, even just breathing easy. College was supposed to open doors, not weigh you down.
Healthcare is the same mess. One big bill and your savings take a huge hit, even if you have insurance.
Childcare costs can be as much as a mortgage in some cities. Makes it tough for families trying to do it all.
And $100K salary? Sounds good until you live in a real city and see how fast it goes.
Lifestyle creep is real, but a lot of it is just the baseline costs rising.
The single-income family feels like ancient history for most folks. Both people working is required just to stay even.
It all connects. These changes piled up over time and made the old American dream feel out of reach for too many.
But we're not done yet. There's more to unpack.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
So yeah, all these pieces add up and make the whole thing feel heavier than it did for our parents. Housing, wages not keeping up, student loans hanging over your head. It's a lot. For real. I was talking to my coworker last week. She makes decent money in marketing, but after rent in Austin, her car note and groceries, there's barely anything left to save. Her parents bought their first house in their mid-20s on one salary.
That's the story I hear everywhere. In Denver, Chicago, Nashville, same thing. The cost of living shot up way faster than paychecks did for regular folks.
And $100K sounds amazing until you live it in a real city in 2026. After taxes, health insurance, and everything else, you're comfortable but not stacking money like people think.
Lifestyle inflation sneaks in too. You start eating out more, getting better coffee, subscribing to all the streaming stuff. But even without that, baseline costs are higher.
Agreeing. Groceries alone. I remember my mom saying how far a paycheck used to go at the store. Now one trip feels like a budget killer.
Gas, utilities, internet, it all adds up. And forget about surprise car repairs or medical stuff. One bad month and you're back to square one.
The single income household is basically gone for most middle-class families. Both people have to work full-time just to stay even, let alone get ahead.
That changes family dynamics. Less time together, more stress, kids in daycare earlier. Our parents had more flexibility in a lot of ways.
Childcare costs can be insane. In many cities, it's like a second mortgage. Makes you think twice about starting a family or having more kids.
Healthcare is the same mess. Even with good insurance, deductibles are high and one hospital visit can wipe out savings.
Remember when people said college was the golden ticket? Now you graduate with debt that follows you for decades.
Yeah, my buddy is still paying off loans from 2018 and he's 32. It delays buying a house, traveling, everything.
So when we look at the American dream, these changes made the old version feel almost impossible for a lot of people. Home ownership, stable family life without constant money stress, it got harder.
Colossal lifestyle inflation sneaks in too. You start eating out more, getting better coffee, subscribing to all the streaming stuff. But even without that, the baseline costs are higher.
Exactly. The rules change slowly over time. Globalization, tech shifts, policy stuff, it all played a part.
And lifestyle expectations rose too. We want more than our parents had in some ways. Better phones, experiences, safety nets. But the money doesn't stretch the same.
You sound like you're defending the system now.
Nah, just saying it's complicated. Our parents dealt with their own crap, like high interest rates in the 80s. But yeah, for us, the math is tougher in key areas.
A lot of people in their 30s are still renting and feeling behind. The dream of owning a home and building wealth feels delayed by 10 or 15 years.
And that delay affects everything. Marriage, kids, retirement planning. It ripples out.
So the American dream didn't die overnight, but these pressures made it feel different and harder for this generation.
Yeah, we'll talk about whether it's truly worse or just evolving in the next part.
Can't wait for that debate. Zach, we've spent a good amount of time talking about that heavy feeling, working harder than our parents, but somehow still falling behind. Now, let's get into the real debate. Is the American dream actually dead in 2026, or has it just changed shape?
This is the part I've been waiting for. I don't think it's dead. I think it's evolving, and a lot of us are still judging it by the old standards. What do you think, Maya?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's completely dead, but parts of it feel broken. The idea that if you work hard, play by the rules, and get a good education, you'll build a stable, comfortable life, that version feels much harder to reach now, especially the home ownership piece and the idea of raising a family without constant financial stress.
Fair, but let's be real. Our parents' generation had their own battles. High interest rates in the 80s, factory jobs disappearing, recessions that hit families hard. They weren't living in some golden age either.
True, but they could buy a decent house on one solid income in most places. Now even two good incomes often feel stretched thin in a lot of cities. That's a real shift.
It is. Housing has become the biggest barrier for a lot of people. In places like Austin, Denver, Nashville, or even parts of the Midwest that used to be affordable, prices have gone up so much that saving for a down payment feels like climbing a mountain.
And it's not just the price. Mortgage rates, property taxes, insurance, everything adds up. A lot of people in their 30s are still renting and feeling like they're falling behind on the traditional markers of the dream.
My buddy in Chicago keeps saying, my parents had a house and 2 kids by my age. I have a nice apartment and a plant that's still alive. It's funny until you realize how many people feel that way.
Exactly. But technology has given us things they never had. Remote work lets people live in cheaper areas while keeping high-paying jobs. That's a real upgrade.
Yeah, geo-arbitrage is a big thing now. Keep your California or New York salary, but live in Texas, Tennessee, or the Carolinas. A lot of people are doing that and actually getting ahead.
But not everyone can do that. Teachers, nurses, tradespeople, retail workers, their jobs aren't remote. For them, the squeeze feels much tighter.
That's where the inequality shows up. The dream is still reachable for some, but it's becoming more uneven. The gap between those who can adapt and those who can't is widening.
Nodding. Social media makes it worse, too. Everyone's posting their wins, new houses, vacations, perfect-looking lives. You don't see the debt, the stress, or the sacrifices behind it. It distorts how we measure success.
Teasing lightly, you saying we need to log off more, Maya?
Maybe. Our parents compared themselves to the neighbors down the street. We compare ourselves to the entire internet at 11 p.m. That's a losing game.
At the same time, we have opportunities they never dreamed of. Starting a business from your laptop, learning new skills online, accessing global markets. These things didn't exist 30 years ago.
Warm. So maybe the dream isn't dead. It's just asking more from us. More adaptability, more intentional choices, less blind following of the old path.
To audience, what do you guys think? Do you believe the American dream is still alive in 2026, or does it feel dead to you? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. We read every single one.
Curious. Let's keep this debate going. Is it truly harder, or are we just looking at it wrong?
After a natural pause. Another thing I've noticed is how success is being redefined. For our parents, it was pretty clear. Own a home, have a stable job, raise a family. For us, it might mean financial flexibility, time freedom, less debt stress, and the ability to pursue things that actually matter to us.
Agreed. Yeah, maybe the new dream is less about keeping up with everyone else and more about building a life that feels sustainable and peaceful. That shift in mindset is hard, but I think it's necessary.
Exactly. The rules changed. Now it's on us to write new ones that actually work in 2026.
Zach, you're saying the dream is evolving, but let's be honest. For a lot of people, it feels like it's slipping away. I was on the phone with my cousin in Atlanta last week. She and her husband both have solid jobs. Together, they make around $165K a year. On paper, they should be doing great. But she told me they're still renting because buying a house in a decent neighborhood feels impossible right now.
That's the story I keep hearing. What did she say exactly?
Sigh. She said they're doing everything right, no crazy spending, saving as much as they can, but every time they look at houses, the prices are insane and the interest rates make the monthly payment feel like a second mortgage. She asked me, were our parents this stressed about money? I didn't know what to tell her.
It's tough. Our parents' generation could buy a house on one decent salary in most places. Now even two good incomes often feel stretched thin in a lot of cities. That's a real change.
Light tease. So you're admitting it's harder?
Chuckling. I'm admitting some parts are harder, yes, but other parts are easier. We have options they never had. Remote work, online businesses, the ability to learn new skills quickly. These things open doors that didn't exist before.
Balanced. True, but those options aren't available to everyone. A teacher in Chicago or a nurse in Phoenix doesn't have the luxury of going fully remote. For them, the cost of living increases hit much harder.
That's the uneven part. The dream is still reachable, but it's becoming more dependent on your industry and where you live. Someone in tech or finance with remote flexibility has a much easier path right now than someone in a traditional local job.
Warm. And social media makes the gap feel even bigger. You see people your age coasting about buying their first home or taking fancy vacations, and you start wondering what you're doing wrong, even when you know the full picture isn't being shown.
Yeah, the highlight reel effect is real. Nobody posts about their $2,800 rent or the $900 car payment. They just show the new kitchen island or the beach trip.
Nodding. It messes with your head. You start comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. That constant comparison is new, and it's exhausting.
Serious. Our parents compared themselves to their neighbors. We compare ourselves to the entire world at 11 p.m. That's a completely different game.
Thoughtful. So maybe part of fixing this is learning to stop the comparison, focusing on our own path instead of everyone else's filtered version.
Absolutely. And also being willing to make different choices. Some of the happiest people I know in our age group aren't the ones with the biggest salaries or the nicest houses. They're the ones who figured out how to live within their means and stopped caring so much about what other people think.
Curious. Give me an example.
Sharing. There's a guy I know in Raleigh, makes around $95K as an accountant, drives a 2016 Honda, lives in a modest apartment, and spends his extra money on experiences and investments instead of flashy stuff. He's not trying to impress anyone. At 34, he already has over $300K saved and zero stress about money. His friends who make similar money but live flashy lives are still stressed every month.
Smiling. That's the quiet rebellion happening right now. People choosing actual freedom over looking successful.
Exactly. The new American dream might be less about keeping up and more about opting out of the race when it doesn't serve you.
To the audience, what about you guys watching or listening? Have you ever chosen to live differently than what society expects? Did it help you feel more in control? Drop your stories in the comments. We read every single one.
Friendly. This debate is far from over. Let's keep going.
Continuing with more natural conversation, fresh examples, generational differences, technology impact, and balanced views to comfortably reach 3,000 words. After a pause, another thing that stands out to me is how success is being redefined. For our parents, it was pretty straightforward. Own a home, have a stable job, raise a family without constant worry. For us, it feels more complicated. Maybe success now is having options, peace of mind, and the ability to live life without money stress controlling every decision.
Agreeing. I like that. The old markers don't fit everyone anymore. Some people are finding fulfillment in different ways, traveling more, spending time with family, building something meaningful on the side. The dream is still there, it just looks different for different people.
Yeah. Maybe the real dream in 2026 is the freedom to design a life that actually feels good instead of following a script that no longer works for everyone. To the audience, what does the American dream mean to you right now? Has your definition changed over the years? Let us know in the comments. Zach, I think we both agree it's not completely dead, but it sure feels different. For a lot of people our age, the old version feels almost impossible right now.
Yeah, that version is definitely harder. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we need a new definition that actually fits 2026.
What would that new version look like to you?
For me, it's about having real choices. The freedom to walk away from a bad job, being able to take time off when life gets hard, raising kids without constant money stress, having savings that actually give you peace of mind.
I like that. For me, it's less about keeping up with everyone else and more about building something sustainable, financial breathing room, time with family, and not feeling stressed every time I check my bank account.
Sounds like we both want the same thing. Peace. Not the Instagram version of success, but actual peace.
Exactly. And I think a lot of Americans in our generation are starting to realize that. They're choosing to live in smaller cities, drive older cars, cook at home more, and invest the difference. They're opting out of the loud consumption game.
Stealth wealth is becoming a real thing. You make good money, but you don't advertise it. No flashy cars, no constant vacation posts, just quiet progress.
I know a woman in Denver making $112K. She still drives her 2015 CR-V and lives in a normal apartment. While her friends are stressed with big houses and luxury leases, she's quietly built over $280K in investments. She says she sleeps better than any of them.
That's the kind of success story we don't see enough.
So if you're watching this and feeling like you're falling behind, know this. You're not alone. The old rules stopped working as well. It's not all on you.
The game changed. Now it's on us to learn the new rules.
We still have more to cover in the next part, including practical ways people are building their own version of the dream in 2026.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Zach, we've talked a lot about why it feels like we're working harder but falling behind. The costs, the pressure, the way the old American dream seems so much further away now. But I don't want to leave this episode on a heavy note. There has to be some real hope here too, right?
Yeah, there is. The American dream isn't dead, it's just changing. The version our parents had doesn't fit 2026 the same way, but that doesn't mean there's nothing left. We just have to update what it looks like for us.
I like that. For a lot of us, the new version might not be about the big suburban house with the white picket fence and 2 new cars. It might be about having real financial breathing room, time with family, and not waking up every month stressed about bills.
I've been talking to people who are actually making it work. Not the loud ones on social media, but regular people who made smart, sometimes hard choices. One couple I know in Ohio, both around 34. Together, they make about $138K. A few years ago, they were stressed in a big city. They moved to a smaller town, bought a modest house, kept their remote jobs, and now their monthly expenses dropped by almost $3,000. They're saving aggressively and actually enjoying life again. They say they feel richer than when they were living the dream in the expensive city.
That's powerful. They chose peace and progress over looking successful. A lot of people are scared to make that kind of move because of what friends and family will say, but those who do it often say it was the best decision they ever made.
Another guy I know in Texas makes $108K. He lived like he made $65K for 3 straight years. Old truck, cooking at home, no big vacations. He paid off all his student loans and car debt. Now he has no payments except his mortgage, and he's investing heavily. He told me the mental freedom he feels now is worth every sacrifice he made.
That sounds tough on paper, but the freedom he has now must feel amazing.
It does. And then there are people building side income. Teachers doing online tutoring, nurses creating small digital products, engineers freelancing. That extra money changes everything when you don't let your lifestyle grow with it.
So the message is you don't have to move across the country or live like a monk, but you do have to be honest with yourself about what matters most, looking successful or actually being financially secure and having peace of mind.
Start with one thing. Track your spending honestly for 30 days. Look at your biggest expense and see if there's a smarter way. Have a real conversation with your partner about what kind of life you actually want, not what looks good from the outside.
And most importantly, redefine what the American dream means to you personally. For some, it's owning a home. For others, it's being able to travel without stress, spend real time with family, or retire early. Write it down, make it specific, then work backward from there.
To the audience, if you're watching this and feeling discouraged, here's the truth. You're not alone and you're not failing. The rules changed faster than most of us expected, but you still have the power to write your own rules.
The American dream is still alive. It just asks more from us now. More adaptability, more honesty about our spending, more courage to make different choices, and the willingness to measure success by how we feel, not just by how we look.
Maybe the new dream is less about keeping up with everyone else and more about building something that actually lasts. Financial peace, strong relationships, good health, and the freedom to live life on your own terms.
To the audience, we want to hear from you. What does the American dream mean to you in 2026? Do you still believe in it? What's one change you're thinking about making after watching this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one.
This conversation doesn't have to end here. If you're going through financial stress, know that there are paths forward.
The dream isn't dead. It's just asking us to be smarter and more intentional. That might be the hardest part, but it's also the most rewarding.
We still have a little more to cover before we fully wrap up. Stick with us for the final thoughts.
Zach, I love that we're ending on a hopeful note because a lot of people listening probably need to hear that it's not all bad. So let's get practical. What are some real things people are doing right now in 2026 to build their own version of the American dream?
Good question. The people who are actually getting ahead aren't waiting for things to get easier. They're making intentional moves. One of the biggest ones I've seen working is location arbitrage.
Explain that for people who haven't heard it.
Basically, keep your high-paying job but move to a cheaper part of the country. A software engineer making $130K in California or New York can move to Texas, Tennessee, or the Carolinas, cut their rent and cost of living in half, and suddenly that same salary feels completely different. I know multiple couples who did this and paid off debt or saved aggressively within a couple years.
That makes a lot of sense. My friend Sarah did something similar. She was in San Francisco making good money, but barely saving anything. She moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, kept her remote job, and her monthly expenses dropped by almost $2,500. She told me she finally feels like she's building something instead of just surviving.
Another big one is lifestyle discipline. A lot of six-figure earners are choosing to live like they make $40,000 to $60,000 less than they actually do. They drive older cars, live in modest homes, cook at home, and put the difference into savings and investments. It doesn't look flashy, but it works.
It's funny how society calls that cheap, but those people are the ones who actually end up with real freedom.
Exactly. One guy I know in Austin makes $142K. He still drives his 2017 truck and lives in a normal apartment, while his coworkers with similar salaries are stressed with luxury leases and big houses. He's quietly built over $450K in investments. He's on track to have real options in a few years.
Debt destruction is another powerful move, especially student loans and car loans. Some people throw every extra dollar at debt for 18 to 24 months until they're completely free. The mental relief after that is huge.
And then there's income growth. A lot of people are no longer loyal to one company. They job hop every 2 to 3 years, negotiate hard, learn high-income skills, or start small side businesses. That extra income, when combined with controlled spending, changes everything.
The key theme I'm seeing is intentionality. The people who are winning aren't just working harder, they're being smarter about where their money goes and what they value.
So, if you're listening and feeling stuck, even though you make decent money, here's what you can do. Start by tracking every dollar for 30 days. Look at your biggest expenses. Have an honest conversation with yourself or your partner about what kind of life you actually want. Then make one meaningful change.
You don't have to do everything at once. One good decision leads to another. The American dream might look different now, but it's still possible if we adapt.
Friends, we still have a little more to cover before we fully wrap up. Stick with us for the final thoughts.
Zach, we've covered a lot in this episode. From that heavy feeling so many Americans have, working harder than ever but still feeling like they're falling behind, to the rising costs, lifestyle pressure, student debt, housing, and how the traditional American dream feels so much further away in 2026. It's been real and honest. But I don't want us to end on a negative note. There has to be some real hope here, too.
There is hope. The American dream isn't dead. It's evolving. The version our parents and grandparents had doesn't fit 2026 the same way anymore. But that doesn't mean there's nothing left. We just have to update what it looks like for our generation.
I like that way of thinking. For a lot of us, the new American dream might not be about owning the biggest house on the block or driving the newest car. It might be about having real financial breathing room, time with the people we love, the freedom to say no to a job we hate, and not waking up every month stressed about bills.
I've talked to so many people who are quietly building their own version of it. Some left expensive coastal cities and kept their remote jobs. Some cut their lifestyle for a few years to pay off debt. Others built side income so they're not completely dependent on one paycheck. The common thing? They stopped waiting for the old system to take care of them and started taking control themselves.
Practically, let's leave people with some real, final advice. First, get brutally honest about your biggest expense, usually housing or transportation. Even one smart move there can free up hundreds or thousands of dollars every month. Second, protect yourself from lifestyle creep. When you get a raise, decide first where that money is going before it disappears into nicer things.
Third, build multiple income streams if you can, whether it's freelancing, investing, a small business, or learning a high-income skill. Relying on just one paycheck in 2026 feels risky.
Fourth, focus on debt freedom. Paying off high-interest debt gives you an instant raise every month.
And most importantly, redefine what the American dream means to you personally. For some, it's owning a home. For others, it's being able to travel without stress, spend real time with family, or retire early. Write it down, make it specific, then work backward from there.
There are still plenty of people winning in this economy. They're not always the loudest ones on social media. They live below their means, invest consistently, avoid stupid debt, and make intentional decisions instead of following what everyone else is doing. They're the quiet ones who actually have options and peace of mind.
So if you're watching this and you feel like you're working hard but still falling behind, know this: you're not alone and you're not failing. The rules of the game changed faster than most of us expected, but you still have the power to write your own rules.
The American dream is still alive. It just asks more of us now. More adaptability, more honesty about our spending, more courage to make different choices, and the willingness to measure success by how we feel, not just by how we look from the outside.
Maybe the new dream is less about keeping up with everyone else and more about building something that actually lasts: financial peace, strong relationships, good health, and the freedom to live life on your own terms.
We want to hear from you. What does the American dream mean to you in 2026? Do you still believe in it? What's one change you're thinking about making after watching this?
Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one, and this community gets stronger when we're honest with each other.
Thank you for spending this much time with us today. These kinds of conversations only matter if they help even one person feel less alone or think differently about their situation.
If this episode gave you clarity, hope, or even just made you feel seen, please hit the like button. It really helps us reach more people who need to hear this kind of real talk.
And if you want more honest conversations about money, career, relationships, and life in modern America, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We drop new episodes regularly.
Maya, as always, it's been real talking with you.
Same here, Zach. Even when we don't agree on everything, I always walk away thinking.
All right, everyone, take care of yourselves out there. Work hard, but don't forget to live. Make one smart move this week, no matter how small. You've got this.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Take care.